There's a lot of great pot hangers out there. This is one of my favorites. It uses just one tree and has a lot of great advantages involved with it. Today we're going to show you how to make this. Now, there's several pieces involved. I just want to go over them right now. First, you have 3 pieces of wood. They all come from the same tree. Simply going up and up, like such. After that, you're going to need about 3 pieces of cordage. It could be parachute cord or any other rope, but I prefer bark as it doesn't burn as quickly or melt as quickly as synthetic rope does. And this is basswood fiber rope. You're going to also need 3 tools. First, of course, a cutting implement, such as a knife. You're going to need 2 pieces, a baton, and a spike. And this is what we call an El Salvadoran pile driver. It drives a hole in the ground. You'll see in a moment how it works. Now, the first tool involved is the pile driver. The reason we do this with a spike and a baton to hammer it in rather than taking the whole vertical piece and driving it in is to cut down stress onto this. If we drove this into the ground, that would cause a lot of stress to the fibers this way. And then when we hung the pot off it, it would start to bend in a different way. And adding stress at 2 different levels, you can often break wood very quickly. This way it leaves a lot less stress and makes it so that this pole works a lot better for hanging a very heavy pot, even up to a Dutch oven. How it works is quite simple. Now that we got the upright up, let's go on to the actual pot hanger. There's going to be 2 pieces out of it. Coincidentally, they came from the exact same tree as the upright. What we're going to do is cut them, but we got to talk about the importance. One is going to have a branch going off this way, and one's going to have 2 forks. One branch going this way and another perpendicular to that. That's the important trick to this pot hanger. This must be done right, and there's going to be a lot of form fitting being happening here, so it takes a lot of patience to make this work, but let's give it a shot. There's going to be the 2 pieces that we mentioned earlier. This one with a single fork is going to be the one that actually hangs the pot. So you cut a notch at the end. You'll do that in a moment once you figure out exactly which way this is going to be hanging. The trick to that is you got to take this piece that has the double forks that are perpendicular and try and figure out which way it lines up. Now this pole will fit comfortably right through here. However, if I flipped it this way, it would come out at a very awkward angle. It wouldn't work. So you adjust it, and once you figure out exactly which way, that's when you cut your notches. Now that we figured out exactly which way these pieces have to go, all we got to do now is cut notches. The notches are going to simply take a piece off the bottom of this and the top of this, and the pieces are going to be the exact same length, or as close as possible. You're going to fit them together, and that way, when you bind it, that is the only joint part. That's where it all comes together. Many hands make light work, especially with constrictor knots. So Mercedes is going to tug this while I hold the pieces together. She's going to just simply tighten this constrictor knot. Or again, I'm just going to keep adjusting this up to there. Again, we're using basswood bark. We haven't redded it or processed in any special way. Just simply took it right off the shoots and are using it from there. And just pull tight. That's pretty good. I'm going to make 2 more of these. The great thing about the constrictor knot is, unlike other constricting knots, such as the jam knot or the boa knot, you can use bark fiber or natural cordage, whereas with the jam knot you need to use synthetic, preferably nylon or polypropylene. That's great. Now we've got all the knots done, we've got the notches all cut out, everything is ready to go on the upright. All we need now is the billy can full of cedar tea. Now with everything attached, we got our pot hanger complete. We got some cedar tea boiling over the fire. This style, it's a little bit more complicated than a simple pot hanger, but there's a lot of advantages here. The biggest advantage to me is that instead of having to reach over here and grab this when it starts to boil hard, I simply grasp here and turn away from the fire. And that way, no singed hands. Every year people can cook their own food out in the wilderness, up to 1,000 people at a time. methods out there. And this is one of my favorites because you can use just simply